Hi everyone, so I have today a freebie for you that is a checklist for how to get started with loose watercolors and the brushes that you could get started on affordable price. So in the checklist, I have part one of the brushes that I use. Of course, not all the brushes that I use. We're gonna have other parts of it, but it's about the brushes that I get, and I'm gonna put extra ones that I show in the video for you to get started with loose watercolors and for you to start practicing your watercolors. So you can get the checklist, it's gonna have all the links, and I separate for budget so you can know what's the higher budget and the lower budget, and for the level, like the ones that I think you should start, and then you can progress to the more advanced ones. And of course the more advanced ones are gonna be more expensive, but it's good to start with the cheapest ones so you get the practice going and you don't have to invest a lot at first. So that is great. So stay tuned, we're gonna have a much more on paper and brushes, but I hope you enjoyed this one, and use the checklist as well to know what you bought and what you don't, so you know you have an inventory of all your brushes. So I hope you enjoy. See you on the video. Okay, so as we talked about, this is just a first introduction, and I'm gonna talk about some affordable brushes that you can start to practice loose watercolor. And I'm gonna start with the cheapest in the line that I think is very good for the price. And you're gonna see that I use a lot of Princeton brushes and I really love the quality. And one of the reasons as well is that Princeton brushes, they have a lot of synthetic brushes that imitates natural hair and animal hair. And because I am vegan, I try not to buy brushes at all that has animal hair, but Princeton brushes, they get pretty close to it, so we're gonna talk about this. So this one is really good. I love that it has a fine point there that you can do fine lines. It is more on the stiffer side, so but I think for beginners it's great because at first you have to just practice your strokes, and then later when you have more ability with that, then it's good to go to a softer brush. I think if you start with a softer brush at first without knowing what to paint, you're gonna get a little frustrated. But I love that they hold a lot of water despite of that. Usually softer brushes, they hold more water, but this one is really nice. It gets really it holds a lot of water. And the reason why stiffer brushes are better to start is because you see how they are easier to get your shapes and work on the things you want to work. And the great thing about them is that they retain the shape. So you can see here the shape didn't change at all. So, and I can do fine lines with it. Very like small things, and it's really like really nicely. So you do that leaf and you see it back to the shape. So that is something good about more stiffer brushes. I like to have number 6 on my brushes because I like to do smaller details with 6 size, so I can do the small leaves and the leaves and things like that. I can do little buds with these brushes, and I particularly like to use it for green, small sleeves, like very fine sleeves like that. So you can do really fine. I think one brush that is famous out there, and it's more many beginners use, is the Silver Black Velvet. And I think it comes in a package of 3 brushes, and they are softer, I guess middle line there. But when I bought this, I didn't know that they were not completely synthetic. In the description Amazon, they actually don't say that, but they use some mixture of synthetic and animal hair here, which I didn't like that they were not very clear about that. It gave an understanding that they were completely synthetic, but they were not. So this one here, you can see how he bends the shape. So because it's not as stiff, it's not gonna hold the shape there. So because it's a middle ground, because softer brushes, they are harder for you to keep the shape, but at the same time I love because once you learn how to do the shapes, they are much better to do some loose stuff. But after I found a solution for softer brushes that imitate you know, animal hair, so I started to use more. Instead of that, I started to use more the Neptune series here from Princeton, and this is a number 8. And again, you're gonna have all the links and everything at the PDF. And on the PDF, I'm gonna have more brushes that are, you know, some of the beginner introduction collection that I have. So this one, you can see that it loses the shape because it's so soft, and you can really have that more loose feel to it. And you can play with blending and everything. It gets, you know, really love this collection, and the fact that they don't use animal hair as well. And it's really great also to do the technique of pulling. Now, I'm not sure it's gonna work with this paper. This paper is not that great. We're gonna do a video about paper as well, but this paper is not that great. So I buy sometimes papers to test, and I saw that this one is not that great. So, you know, you can see here that it changes the shape. Then what I do, I just shape it again. So it's totally like bendable when you put water. So you can see, then I just shape it again. So I think if you get it started, you can definitely start watercolor and practicing with a cheaper brush, and it doesn't mean that it reduces the quality. I think you just have to make sure that you buy from companies that have experience making these brushes, and not buying these random brushes on Amazon or any other places. So I think these companies, they understand and they have experience in making brushes for watercolor, acrylics, or oils. So you're gonna have a better turnout with them. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you download the PDF and have that as a resource. And we're gonna talk way more about brushes in the future. Thank you.